Good day, class. Okay, so since suspended yung class natin, mag-shift tayo ng discussion natin dito sa online. So, through video recording. And I hope kahit hindi man tayo nagkikita ngayon face-to-face, and then I hope you're okay and makikinig kayo sa discussion natin for today. Okay, so start na tayo, class. Okay, we now arrive to the first method in data analysis na i-cover natin dito sa CE023, which is probability. When we say probability, we use information about the population to infer to the probable nature of a sample. Anything in life or anything happens in life is uncertain. So there is uncertainty anywhere, whatever you try to do. But most of the time, so we need to make a choice in life. So we need to make decisions despite uncertainty. So in the way to do that in a much more systematic way is by modeling a real world scenario, and that is through probabilistic model. Okay, so probability is everywhere. So for example, in science and engineering, yung very common ngayon is in signal processing. So we use probability because of the nature of noise, which is random. So ano pa yung mga application natin na uh, common na nakikita natin? So say for example, weather forecasting, or simply in real life, yung pinipredict mo yung probability kung anong ulam natin mamaya, kung anong ulam nyo yung mamaya. So pwedeng ano kaya yung percentage na yung uulamin natin mamaya is adobo, or yung chance na papansinin ka na din ng crush mo. So yun ang mga example ng mga probability na na-encounter natin in real life. Pero probability is more applicable, lalong-lalo na sa mga casino game, sports betting game, sa politics. We also use probability in sales forecasting, traffic, and pretty much of anything, no, any field that we can think of. However, no matter what field you're coming from, the basic tools, theorems, and concepts are really all the same. Okay, before we start solving problems about probability, the first piece of probabilistic model is to set up a sample space. So ano nga ba yung sample space? When we do an experiment, and by experiment, we just mean that something will happen out there. So we expect a result. Say for example, when we flip a coin, we expect na yung result natin will either be a head or a tail. So also, yung pag-roll natin ng die, and kapag nag-draw tayo ng card. So that's an example of a simple experiment. So the defined experiment is an act or process. So take note to class, baka lumabas sa exam. So wala ito sa handout. So an experiment is an act or process of observation that leads to the single outcome that cannot be predicted with certainty. Okay, so for example, we conduct an experiment and we list down all the possible outcome. So hindi naman lahat ng outcome mangyayari, class. So we just list down the possible outcome of the experiment. And this list of outcome, in mathematics, tinatawag natin siyang set. And set is our sample space. So this is just a term that we use in mathematics. But list, or the set of possible outcome, is the definition of a sample space. So before we set up or we come up for a sample space, we need to consider three things. For example, mutually exclusive. So ano nga ba yung mutually exclusive? So it only means that if this outcome happen, then this one cannot happen. So To define mutually exclusive, so mutually exclusive, dapat yung data set natin, when we say mutually exclusive, that if one of the result is chosen, kapag na-expect na natin or yung result ng experiment natin, so ito halimbawa, ito yung result ng experiment natin, all the other possible outcomes cannot be true at the same time. For example, kapag na-confirm mo na hindi ka talaga crush ng crush mo, then hindi ka talaga niya crush. So, tanggalin mo na yung ibang expectation or outcome na crush ka niya talaga kasi na-confirm mo na nga na hindi ka niya crush. So, maybe in another life. Ayan, corny ng joke ni sir. So, ngayon, ang gagawin natin, pero syempre sa real life class, no, madami tayong uncertainty nga. Malay mo, maging crush ka pa din niya, no. Okay, so another another question. Pero dun sa unang experiment na-confirm mo na hindi ka crush. So try ulit ng panibagong observation. Okay, so mutually exclusive is used to describe when two or more respective outcome, mutually exclusive. So this is outcome 1 and outcome 2 cannot occur simultaneously. So that's the definition of mutually exclusive. Next, collectively exhaustive. So no matter what happens in the experiment, you are going to get one of the outcome inside this sample space. So dapat, as much as possible, we list down all the possible outcome and we should anticipate all the possible outcome so that we can expect we are certain that an outcome is more likely to happen from our list of sample or our sample space. So that's the definition of collectively exhaustive. So for example, when we flip a coin, we are certain that the result will only be tail and head. So this is collectively exhaustive kung wala naman tayong ibang detail na associated when we flip a coin. Mutually exclusive, so if tail happen, then this head cannot happen. But if you try another experiment, maybe head will happen and on the other side, so tail will not happen. So that's the definition of mutually exclusive and collectively exhaustive. So ano naman yung ibig sabihin ng just the right amount of granularity? So for example, when we flip a coin, so this is data set 1 or sample space 1 and we have sample space 2. So when we flip a coin, so this is tail when raining, T not raining outside. So, ibig sabihin niyang class, tumingin kayo sa labas, in-observe niyo yung weather, tapos umuulan. And then, we have also head when raining, and head when not raining. Okay. So, dito kung mapapansin natin yung sample space 2 natin, or the second sample space, we can observe that may dinagdag tayong detail, no? So when raining and not raining. So the result has a relationship with the weather. So which do you think is the correct one? Okay, so ang pipiliin natin is yung simpler one. So because the second sample space consists of some irrelevant detail. So most preferred natin na sample space is the simpler one. Kaya tinawag nating right granularity. We just include the right details para masagot natin yung question natin for an experiment. But if you think or if you believe that raining or the weather affects the result for tossing a coin, then we will select sample space 2. So but is that intuition or that belief is subjective, class, no? Not everyone accept that thought. So as much as possible, when we do an experiment, we try to to include only the specific details. So yung that is universally accepted. Okay, class. So if you believe that there are some reason there in life or in data or in experiment, there are a lot of details that we can associate for any result. So madami pa yan. So pwedeng T when rain, T during flooding. So pwede din yan. So pwede kayong mag-include class, no? Pero as much as possible, we need to simplify our result. So we will remove all the unnecessary detail as much as possible and neglect those detail na kung saan hindi naman talaga makakaapekto dun sa result natin. So, ang pipiliin natin dito is yung mas simple or when we create our sample space, we just select the right granules or the right details for our possible outcomes. Okay. So, try tayo ng example class, no? So, we will consider an experiment that selects a cell phone camera and records the recycle time of the flash. So, yung i-record natin is a recycle time. So, yung mini-measure natin is yung detail na ina-analyze natin is the recycle time of a flash. So, this is the time taken to ready the camera for another flash. So, in mathematics, we can represent our sample space or set using this S. Okay, so we have a bracket. So we need to define the sample space based on all the possible time na pwedeng maging value ng recycle time of flash natin. So, meaning to say, lahat ng positive integer kasi wala naman negative na positive real number kasi wala namang negative na time, di ba class? So, we will just put the possible outcome is x such that the value of x is greater than 0. So this is how we're going to represent our sample space in mathematical way. Next, we need to define the sample space based on the minimum and maximum recycle time. So nagbigay na tayo dito ng minimum and maximum recycle time, which is between 1.5 and 5 seconds. So we expect that our outcome is between 1.5 and 5 seconds. So we have x such that the value of x is between 1.5, the minimum value, and 5, the maximum value. Bawal na mag-exceed dun sa 5 seconds. Third, we need to define the sample space if the recycle time is to be considered as low, medium, and high. So, given lang tayo ng 3 result, possible outcome, which is S. So, hindi naman siya, iba yung pag-represent natin dito. Wala namang in-between dito. So, we have low, medium, and high. Next, define the sample space if the experiment only evaluates whether or not a particular camera conforms to the minimum recycle time. So, the question to this case, yun dapat yung possible outcome. Masagot natin yung question ng case or yung situation. The question for this experiment is evaluate whether conforming or not conforming a particular camera. So, dapat yung sagot natin kapag, for example, conforming, sabihin natin, yes, it conforms. Not conforming, lagyan lang natin ng no. So, limited lang tayo sa dalawang result. Dapat class, no? Dapat mutually exhaustive, collectively exhaustive, and mutually exclusive. So, wala naman tayong ini-expect na possible results na. So, ang ilalagay natin sa sample space natin is just conforming or not conforming. Okay. So, data set can be categorized as discrete or continuous. Kapag sinabi natin discrete, it consists of finite or countable infinite set of outcomes. So, kapag mabibilang lang natin yung mga data natin from a sample space, tatawagin natin discrete. Pero kapag continuous naman, it contains an interval. So, between those number, meron pa mga value. So, maliliit or finite or infinite numbers of a real number. So, for example, dito sa unang case natin, the value of x that is greater than 0. So, madami tayong value, infinite class na, positive infinity. So, hindi naman nasabi. Pero, halimbawa, ang mga value lang is mga 1, 2, 3. Pero between ng 1 and 2, meron pa tayong maliliit na value dito. Because this is time, di ba? So, meron tayong 1.1, 1.2. And then, yung between 1.1 and 1.2, may maliliit pang number dyan. So, there are still many infinite numbers between those finite number, which is 1.1 and 1.2. Kaya, yung first case natin is tatawagin natin siyang continuous data set. Yung pangalawa, since meron tayong mga number between 1.5 and 5, tatawagin din natin tong continuous data set. Sa pangatlo, since we are certain na yung possible outcome natin mabibilang lang natin, so we have low, medium, high. So meron lang tayong tatlong result. So this is discrete data set. Kasi pwede nating mabilang class, no? Finite lang yung element ng sample space natin. And also, for this, a fourth example, so this is also a discrete data set. Okay, class. So, ito yung definition ng discrete and continuous data. So, we will try to solve another problem or another example. Now, we will consider two cameras. Previously, isang camera lang. In an experiment that selects a cell phone camera, and we will still record the recycle time of a flash. First question, we need to define a sample space if the experiment only evaluates whether or not particular camera conforms to a minimum recycle time of specification. So this is just the same dun sa una natin, which is this one, pero sa isang camera lang yun. Ngayon, dalawa na yung camera. So, kapag nagko-confirm, yes. Kapag hindi nagko-confirm, no. Ngayon, say for example, yung una nating camera na na-select is conforming, pero yung pangalawa, not conforming. So, that is the one possible outcome of our experiment. Next, yung nakuha natin na una is not conforming, pero conforming naman yung pangalawa na. So, that is another. So, we can just interchange the possible outcome. So, that's the... So, yung order may importance class ng possible outcome. Next, we also have hindi conforming yung una, tapos hindi pa conforming yung pangalawa. And then, nag-conform yung una, and then nag-conform din yung pangalawa. Okay class, so may naiisip pa ba kayong possible outcome for this example? Diba? Wala na. So this is collectively exhaustive. As much as possible, we list down all the possible outcome. Okay. Next, we need to define the sample space based on the numbers of conforming cameras. So the question for this experiment is we need to define the sample space kung ilang camera yung nagko-conform. Ngayon, meron tayong 2 cameras for the experiment. So dapat yung result natin is kung ilang camera yung nagko-conform. So limited lang yung sagot natin or yung possible outcome natin to the number of cameras. So class, so ano yung magiging possible outcome natin? Ilang camera yung nagko-conform? So we have 2, 'di ba? Pwedeng dalawang camera yung magko-conform. Next, pwedeng isang camera lang yung magko-conform and pwede ding wala. So, wala naman tayong naisip class. So, as meron tayong tatlong elements sa ating sample space, which is no camera conforming, at least one camera is conforming, and both cameras are conforming. Okay, so some other example for a discrete finite example, we have, for example, we will roll a tetrahedral die. We know that a tetrahedral die only consists of 4 faces or 4 possible outcomes or 4 numbers as a result. So when we roll a tetrahedral die once, so we have 4 possible outcome. But if we roll again, we have a second roll for a tetrahedral die. We also expect 4 possible outcome. So those combination na kung ano yung result ng first roll and a second roll, so that is still a combination. No? So pwedeng 1-1 yung possible outcome natin when we roll a tetrahedral die twice. So pwedeng 1-1, and then on the first roll is 2, and then the second roll is still 1. Okay, so in total we have 16 possible outcome for the for rolling a tetrahedral die twice. So yeah, so we have this example is a discrete or finite example, so we can just list out as much as possible. Kaya natin ma-list down lahat ng mga possible outcome, which is 16. Okay, so aside from this box form or listing down the possible outcome, which is 1-1-2-1, or in a box form, we can also represent our outcome through a sequential description or through visual diagram, which shows how stages evolve. So, kung gagawin natin yan, for example, nag-roll tayo ng tetrahedral die, and then sa first roll, ito yung first roll natin, meron tayong 4. Tapos, sa first roll natin, ang possible outcome natin is 1, 2, 3, 4 pa din. So, in total, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then meron din to 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3. So, we can also represent this into a tree diagram. Tinatawag din natin siya tree-based description. Okay. So, that is an example of a discrete or finite data set. Okay, so sometimes yung data set natin cannot be counted because it consists of infinite possible outcome. So for example, we have this square target class now. This is a 1x1 square target. So this is what happens when we try to have nagda-dart tayo class, no? Or nag-archery tayo. So, yung target. So, there are infinite number possible points kung saan tayo dito maglalaan yung target natin. So, this is just an example of continuous data set. So, we know that the value of xy such that the value of coordinates of xy is just between 0 to 1. Kasi yung limit natin is sa y is 1 and sa x is 1. So we expect that our value of xy is between 0 to 1. And yun yung target natin. So sometimes because of this many number of points, we just only predict yung area. So we represent the probability as the area. So we represent the area kung saan lang tayo maglaland yung target natin. Yun yung predict natin. So we can represent the probability by an area. So yan yung mga ginagawa natin. And even though mga circular target, pag alam mo yung circumference or yung diameter ng target ninyo, kasi di ba may mga iba-iba siyang location, so yan yung mga probability natin. So given tayo ng mga data about its dimension, yung possible outcome natin is within this region, and we can represent that through an area. So this is an example of a continuous data set because it includes a data set or outcome that is infinitely very small or sobrang daming possible outcome for this type of data set. Same with yung kanina class, no? Yung value natin is in between 5, 1.5 and then 5. Okay, clear naman class. So, as much yung continuous example kapag it consists many infinite small number. Okay, so instead of assigning probabilities to individual points, we will assign probabilities to whole set. So we're going to assign, we are not assigning the probabilities to the whole set, but we assign probabilities to various subsets or events of a sample space. So bakit natin tinawag na event, no? So once we carry out an experiment and we observe an outcome of the experiment, and either this outcome is in event A. So halimbawa, okay, say for example, we have this data set. So this is a sample space and this is event A. And then yung event A natin, may possible outcome din. Pero yung event A natin, may sometimes hindi siya, wala doon yung possible outcomes natin. So, a simple event, parang iaano pa natin, i-categorize pa natin yung possible outcome, or parang maging mas specific pa tayo sa possible outcome. So, yun yung example ng event natin. So, this is just an outcome observed on a single repetition for an experiment. So, for example, when we toss a die and we observe the number of the upper face, what are the possible event? So, yung sample space natin, yung result natin is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, what is the event na makukuha natin for the first toss is 1. So, yun ang example natin ng event. So, next event, what is the event or the chance na yung makukuha natin for the first toss is 2. So, yan yung mga possible event natin. Also, pwedeng maging event naman class, ano yung chance natin or ano yung mga possible outcome that when we toss a die and we observe an even number. So, sa event na yan, ang possible natin outcome is 2, 4, and 6. So, parang inaano pa natin, ginagawang mas specific natin yung sample space for the outcome. So, that's an example of an event. So, yung sample space natin consists ng mga events or ng mga elements. So, and then yung event naman, this is a collection pala of simple events. So, pwedeng 2 yung sagot natin, which is 2, 4, 6. Yung event na makukuha natin is 2. And then, yung simple events is this one, the collection of the possible simple events na makukuha natin from our sample space. Okay, so let's have an example. So we need to consider the sample space and define the subset. So other term for event is subset. So we need to define which at least one camera lang yung nagko-conform. So this is the event na kung saan isang camera lang yung magko-conform. So check natin yung buong sample space natin from the previous example. So dito meron tayong 4. Pero, ginawa nating specific. So, what is the event na makukuha lang natin is one conforming camera. So, dito we have conforming, isang conforming, pero yung pangalawa hindi na. Dito yung una conforming, pero yung not conforming, pero yung pangalawa conforming. Dito walang conforming, dito both. Pero sabi daw dun sa event is only at least one. So, ano yung mga possible outcome natin? So, we have ito. So, we have yn, ny, and nn. So, we have 3 possible outcome for this event. Next, we need to define the subset for which both cameras do not conform. So, dapat yung dalawang camera ay hindi nagko-conform parehas. So, yung event natin dyan is equal to n. So, isa lang yung event na ay outcome na hindi magko-conform yung camera. Okay class, so as you can see that the value of the second event is just the complementary of the first event. Meaning to say, yung complementary, ito yung mga outcome na hindi mangyayari dito sa event 1. So ano yung outcome na hindi mangyayari sa event 1? Na walang camera ang magko-conform. So di ba? So E2 is just the same sa complement ng E1, which is so mali ito class. This is YY. So we have YY. So that's the definition of a complement of an event or subset. Sa algebra, tawag natin siyang subset, pero dito sa probability, tinatawag na natin siyang event. So, mutually exclusive, when two events are mutually exclusive, one event cannot occur, so the other cannot, and vice versa. So, if lumabas na yung head, hindi na lalabas yung tail. So, that is mutually exclusive. So, yung mga outcomes sa event A, hindi na mangyayari sa B. So, wala silang same or common elements or possible outcome. So, we can also represent our data sets through Venn diagram. So, this is very common from our algebra. So, Venn diagram is a visual representation about the possible outcomes. So, dito natin makacategorize class yung mga pwedeng mag-clash. Kung ano ba yung mga element na pwedeng mangyari both sa kanila or yung mga element na hindi mangyayari sa kanila. Na unique lang sa A and unique lang din sa B. Okay, so we already find out that when we roll a die, the possible outcome is the possible events are, for event 1, we have, when we roll a die, the possible outcome is 1, and then and so on. So we have 2, E3, and then we have 3. So for example, we have the event A. So event A, we can describe event A is what are the events, what are the outcomes na when we roll a die, we can observe an odd number. So that's our first event, observe an odd number. Next, I'm going to specify that event P will result to a number, or we can observe a number that is less than, ilalagay natin, less than 4. So that is the second event. Okay, so we list down, or we will try to represent that in Venn diagram, or first in parang mathematical representation yung ginawa natin kanina. So the event A, so ito yung possible outcome na yung makukuha nating results, or it includes elements that are odd number. So from our list of possible events, so event A, diba, this is simple events. Ito yung tinatawag nating simple events, and this is just event, which is the collection of simple events. So event A, it includes simple events that are odd number. So we have E1, E5, E3, and E5. And the second event, or event B, so those possible outcome that are less than 4. So we have E1, E3, and less than 3 pala. Less than 4, E2, and E3. So hindi nakasali yung E4 kasi less than 4. Less than 4 na siya. So 4 na siya mismo. So ang hinanap lang natin is yung event na less than 4 yung sagot. So we can represent that through a Venn diagram. So for event A, we have E1, E3, and E5. However, for event B, so sa event B, meron din siyang E1, and then meron din siyang E3. So dito meron silang intersection. Pero yung E2 is just unique for B. And then yung E6 and E4, hindi naman siya mangyayari dun sa both event A and B. So dun siya sa labas ng Venn diagram natin. But still, nasa sample space pa din natin siya. Okay, so that's how we represent Venn diagram. So in doing Venn diagram, let's not forget yung natutunan natin dun sa algebra natin. Okay, so I'm just going to write down, wala dyan sa handouts natin. So, for intervals, say for example, continuous data set or kung kapag mathematical yung representation natin, and then ito yung mga makikita natin or greater than, so we have a bracket, a parenthesis. It only means na yung number na yun or yung data na yun is not included. Pero kapag ganito yung relationship nila, and then ito ganito yung enclosure nila, which is okay class, so we can represent, say for example, kapag mathematical representation, so we can represent the data kapag included siya or hindi by using this mathematical notation. So we have less than or greater than, and then kapag parentheses not included, and then kapag bracket, square bracket, or then we have less than or equal to or greater than or equal to, meaning to say kasali siya dun sa event na yun. Yung element na yun or yung data na yun or yung number na yun, kasali siya dun sa event na yun. Okay. So this is just some we will have some review of our sets or of our algebra. So I hope naalala nyo pa naman yung algebra natin class ninyo from your high school. So kapag yung Venn diagram natin, and then eto meron silang unique values or common sa kanila, tinatawag natin siyang intersection. So for example, this is event A and event B. So A hat B, yun yung intersection nila. These are the data that are common to both events. Next, from our Venn diagram, ito yung isa pang properties, which is A or operation A hat B or A union A cup B, or the union of events A and B. So we list down all the possible unique outcome from both event A and event B. So, pero walang repetition class, no? So, kapag yung A na yun is nangyari na din sa B, so isang beses lang natin ilalagay yung outcome na yun. So, ito yung tinatawag nating union. So, say for example, we have event A as A, B, C, D, E. And a sample space is A, B, C, D. So, dapat sa sample space class, lahat ng included sa sample space ay kung ano din lang yung makikita sa mga events natin. Kasi alam natin, yung events, di ba, ano lang siya, dinisolve lang natin or kinategorize lang natin yung mga sample, yung elements sa sample space natin. So, for example, event B is B, D, F, G, and H. So, i-solve natin, or we will try to use this relationship or operations for our data set. So, first we have A cup B. So, we just list down all the possible outcome from both A and B. Pero kapag naulit na siya or yung mga common nila, we will just put that, or we will just include only one from them. So we have A, B, C, D, E. So meron pa tayong ito, meron na nito sa A. So no need to put it again. So we also have D. So yung mga unique lang kay B is we have F, G, and H. So next, A hat B, or yung intersection nila. Kung ano lang yung common. So yung common nila is B and then D. So dalawa lang. So wala namang F, C, A, wala din siyang G, and then wala din siyang H. Okay, so we only have B and D. Next, we have A, cup B, and then cup B prime. So sabi ko nga class, kapag B prime, ito yung mga events na wala sa B. So this is the complement of B. Ano yung mga elements na wala sa B pero nasa sample space natin? So we have, ano yun class? So wala siyang A, wala din siyang C, wala din siyang E pero may F siya. A, B, C, D, E. Ito tingnan natin class. We have F. So walang F, C, B. Ay meron siyang F pero wala siyang E. Okay, so meron siyang G, meron siyang H, pero wala siyang I. So ito yung complement ng B. Lahat ng elements na wala sa B pero nandun sa sample space dapat. So we know that A hat B or their intersection is B and D. So ngayon, this is also an intersection. Ano ba yung common sa A hat B or A intersection B and then yung intersection pa nila sa B prime, which is the elements that are not included in event A. So wala namang common class sa kanila. So walang B, walang D. So ang sagot natin dito is no element. So wala silang element na common. So, okay. Tinatawag din natin siya as null set. And we can represent null set as this one, phi, no? So bilog and then just slash, put a slash or a diagonal line. So yan yung null set natin. Okay. So example pa tayo class, no? Say for example, we also have this event 1 in mathematical representation. We have x such that 10 is less than x and then 12. So we have E2 is equal to x, 11, and then 15. Okay class, so this example, this is an example of continuous data set. And we will just try to operate same with those discrete data sets. So kahit hindi natin to nabibilang class, because it consists of some infinite, many possible real numbers in between those numbers, we can still solve using this bracket or using this operator, mathematical operator, to try to at least include all the possible outcomes for an event or for some operation about this data sets. So if for example, we have E1 and then cup 1. So we will try to include or unite all the possible outcomes from event 1 and the second event. So okay, we will draw since this is a continuous data set, I'm going to draw a number line. I hope fresh pa to class sa inyong algebra. Okay, so drawing na ako class. So pwede nyo na tong skip. Okay, so naka-forward ng mga gawain talaga ng mga estudyante. So include natin yung mga numbers. So we have 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. This is for event 1. And the second event, so we have also 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. So we know that for event 1, kapag may ganito, equal to na operator na included kasama yung less than operator. So kasama dapat yung 10. So included. So, lagyan natin dito ng solid dot. So we have the solid dot. Kapag ganito, included yung number na yun or yung data na yun or yung element na yun hanggang 12. So yung interval niya is from 10 to 12. So included din yan. Next, yung 11 and 15, hindi sila included. So lahat lang ng number between 11 and 15, pero hindi included yung 11. And then yung 15, pwedeng 11.0001 na yung mag-start. So kapag not included, ano lang siya? Bilog. Okay, ngayon, Okay, kapag hindi included, gagawin lang natin siyang hollow dot. Okay, class. So, the first question is that we need to solve for those values that are included for both event 1 and event 2. So, kapag hindi included sa event 1 pero nasa event 2, pero isasama pa din natin siya kasi union to, class. So, ito yung tinatawag nating union. So, those events na nangyayari sa event 1 and event 2, regardless na hindi man siya nangyayari both sa kanila or hindi nangyayari sa event 1 as well as dun sa event 2. So, kapag ganito, class, number line yung gagawin natin, mag-extend lang tayo sa boundary ng event 1 or yung pinakamalayong boundary kung ano man sa kanilang dalawa. And then, dito naman, yung 15 yung pinakamalayo, yung farthest value. So, kapag E-cap E1, cap E2, yung sagot natin dito is, ito, kasali yung 10. Kasi kasali naman siya dun sa event 1 eh. And then, ito, 15. So, values less than 15, kasali siya. Pero yung 15 dito, hindi kasali mismo kasi naka-open lang siya. Open circle or hollow circle. And dito, sabi ko nga, class, ito na yung farthest distance, pero hindi included yung 15. So, the answer is, so our sample space or our possible outcome is, or the value or the possible value of x such that the value of x is less than 10, greater than 10 pero included yung 10, but less than 15. So, hindi kasali yung 15. So, this is how we are going to represent or kung paano natin nire-represent yung mga possible outcome from our continuous data set. So, we're using or we are trying to utilize the number line. So, next, kapag intersection naman, class, so what if we want to observe the events that are only common to those two events. So, we have intersection. Ito yung tinatawag nating intersection. Okay, so I'm going to draw again a number line. Okay, so parang mas madami yung nilagay kong mga points ngayon, pero okay, so we just try to solve this one. 8, 9, 10. Okay, class, so I hope you are okay. So, hindi kayo maanong nagpapabasa, no? Kasi mahirap na magkasakit ngayon. Malapit na din yung mga exam natin, class. Okay, so pagpasensyahin nyo na, class, yung ano natin, speaking voice, kasi feeling ko talaga bata pa din talaga ako, no? Pambata pa yung boses ko. Sariling buhat, no, class? Okay, so imagine nyo na lang yung mukha ko. Kung paano magturo, no? Boring. So, walang change na expression. Okay, class. So, dito, yung cap. Pero ngayon, try pa din natin specify yung mga number. So, kapag included, solid dot, and then 12. So, for second event, hindi kasali yung 11, and then yung 15. So, anything in between lang ng 11 and 15. So, ngayon, class, ang kukunin lang natin is yung common sa kanila. Lahat ng number between the number line na common lang dun sa dalawa. So, we have 11. So, extend ko lang to, yung line na to, class. And then, 12. So, wala naman, class, no? So, common lang, class, eh. Wala namang number na hindi na included sa event 1 yung number beyond 12. So, the answer for this case, so we have E1, hot E2. So, the value of x such that this is the value of x is greater than 11 pero hindi kasali yung 11, and then but less than 12 siya. Pero kasali yung 12 kasi included siya dito. Okay, wait lang. Common kasi yung pinag-uusapan nating class, no? So, although kasali siya sa 12, pero hindi naman siya kasali dito sa event B natin, sa second event. So, ang value lang nakasali sa second event is yung mga 11.999. So, yung ano natin dito, operator is just less than 12. Kasi hindi na sila common doon. So, wala namang, hindi kasali kasi yung 12. Ay, wait lang. Check natin. Ang hindi pala kasali is yung 15. So, yung 12 kasali. So, okay. So, this is included pa din yung 12. Kasi included din siya dun sa event 1. Okay. So, yan yung class. So, medyo nalito kayo dun, no? So, yun nga. Kasali yung 12. Pero yung 11, hindi na siya kasali. Ang kasali is 11.001. So, yun yung sagot natin dyan. Next, we have, yun yung example natin ng a continuous data set using a number line. Okay, we are done now in identifying or on how we're going to determine the possible outcome for a probability. So before we jump into the probabilistic model or ano ba yung type kung paano natin makakalculate yung probability or paano natin siya i-represent yung probability, the most important thing to do is yung una natin ginawa, to identify the possible outcome and identify all the possible outcome. So that's the time that we can predict yung mga chances ng mga event na yun or yung chances na mangyayari yung isang event from an experiment. Okay, class. So, any probabilistic model should satisfy to what we call an axioms of the probability. So, these axioms are set of rules that we need to satisfy when we do probabilistic calculations. So, first, we have this non-negativity rule wherein any probability of an event should always be a non-negative number. So, any probabilistic event of an event dapat greater than siya ng 0. So, 0.1, 0.2. Okay. So, the normalization, which means that we expect class na we are very certain or absolute certain that an event is going to occur within a sample space kasi okay, so an event. So, if an event happens or kahit yung event did not happen, we are sure. Okay, so this is event A. So kapag yung anong event na yun or from our expected outcome will happen, so we are sure na that the sample space, so pwede na din natin kasi tawagin yung sample space as an omega. So we are absolute certain that since mangyayari siya sa event, yung sa buong space na yun, buong sample space na yun, dapat 100% na mangyayari din yun, class. Kasi nga, an event is just an element of a sample. So, kapag nangyari na yun sa A, so we are sure that the probability of a sample space to happen is most likely 1. So, we all know kapag hindi nangyari sa event A, this is still under the sample space, no? Malalaman natin na kapag hindi nangyari sa A, so, but the probability that will happen kahit hindi man yan siya mangyari sa A, pero alam natin na yung mga event na outside sa A is still within the sample space kasi in-expect natin yun na it will not happen sa A. This is still, we are still certain about the possibility that an event is sure na dapat na mangyari between those list of our sample. So, this is sample space, no? So, this is the list of expected events. So, at least, meron ditong mangyayari kapag nilist down natin yung possible outcome or all the sample space are collectively exhaustive. So, may mangyayari at mangyayari pa din dyan. Okay, class. So, in case naman kapag disjoint or mutually exclusive yung ano natin, yung set of data. So event A will not have an element or an event that are the same with B. So they are not related to one another. So kapag ganyan class, yung intersection nila, kitang-kita naman natin, null. So no element na common sa kanilang dalawa. Pero we are certain that A union B, the probability of A union B refers to the set of elements that best belong to A, to B, or to both. So, kapag A union B, we will just add up the probabilities of those two disjoint subset or event. So, i-add lang natin yung probability of A plus the probability of B kasi wala naman sa kanilang common. Pero yung case naman class na may common sa kanila, meron din tayong axiom for that. So, kapag meron tayong axioms, meron tayong anti-axioms which are or yung tinatawag din nating consequences. So, we knew that the probability of an event is greater than or equal to 0. So, pwede siyang mag-0 no, or no chance na mangyayari yung event na yan. Pero, since yung probability natin should sum up to 1 lang, so an probability to happen, an event to happen is pwede siya mag-equal sa 1. So, 100% most likely na mangyayari yung event na yan. Pero dapat yung value niya is between 0 to 1 lang. Yung value or yung probability na ang event ay mangyayari. So, since we know that in a sample space, meron tayong mga elements. So, nakakategorize under an event group or a subset. Kapag yung sample space natin is walang element, so wala tayong certainty na may mangyayari dun sa sample space natin or yung experiment natin. So kapag wala naman tayong expected outcome or no element, so wala tayong ina-expect na may mangyayari. So the probability of an zero element or a null set is 0. Okay. So this action class, which is the probability of an event to happen, and ano yung complementary ng event to happen, 'di ba? Yung not happen. So dapat yung sum nila is equal to 1. So for example, yung probability na mag-launch yung missile is the probability that a missile will be launched is 0.6. So the probability of a missile not being able to launch, so we have 0.4. So dapat the sum, which is this the complementary. So the complementary is 1 minus 0.6 of happen, yung mangyayari. So this is 0.4. So dapat yung sum ng dalawa, P plus its complementary or the opposite, yung chance na hindi mangyayari should always be equal to 1. And similarly, for K disjoint or kung madaming disjoint class, yung sum ng probability, so PA, Cup, B, and so on, this is just the sum of all those probabilities. For in the case naman class na PA, Cup, B, so hindi sila common, hindi sila disjoint or mutually exclusive, so meron silang common class, no? Meron. So, sabihin natin class na okay, wait lang. Okay, so I'm going to draw a Venn diagram. So, we have this one. A. This is the elements in A and B and C. So now class, kapag ganito naman yung case natin na dot disjoint or meron silang common element, So, ang gagawin lang natin class, this is event A class, no? And this is event B. So, event A, so balitan natin yung color, sila yung orange. What are the probabilities or what are the outcomes under event A? So, di ba meron tayong A plus B. So, ito kasi included pa din siya. And then, what are the probabilities that an event happen or falls under B? So, we have B plus C. Kasi sa B pa din yung class ito. Sa B pa din yung B. Okay. Ngayon, yung common sa kanila, which is the intersection. So, ano ba yung intersection lang? Yung common lang sa dalawa. So, we only have B, di ba? So, ngayon, ang ginagawa natin sa intersection is isusubtract natin. So, what we do now is, we operate this algebraically. So, we have A plus, cancel na natin to, plus B plus C. So, the probability of A cap B or A union B that are not disjoint or kapag merong common sa kanila, we just simply add yung mga unique values ng A. Yung elements na nangyayari lang sa A plus yung elements na mangyayari lang sa C ay sa B and then yung common sa kanila. So, bawal maulit class, no? Kasi pag ang mga problem class, the probability that will happen to A, usually yung mga problem natin is magbibigay sila ng probability that will happen to A and then the probability that will happen to B. And doon sa probability of event A and probability of B, kapag hindi sila disjoint, meron dong common. So kapag binigay naman class yung probability that an event will happen both A and B. So, halimbawa, yung event na mangyayari, yung event na mangyayari, pero nandun, mangyayari din siya sa A and then sa B. So, common siya class. So, kailangan natin siyang isubtract. So, ano ba yung mga example? For example, the probability that a student will read a science book is 0.6 science book. And then the probability na magbabasa lang siya ng math book only. And then the probability na makapagbasa siya ng both science and math. So, ganyan. So, this is our PA and then PB and then this is P A cap B. Kasi common kasi 'di ba? Science and math. So makakapag ano siya, makakapagbasa ng science and math. So ito 'yan, yung B class. So hindi lang natin siya basta-basta na na i-add class, no, kasi yung probability nga natin kitang-kita naman na dapat hindi siya mag-exceed ng 1. So dapat yung sagot natin dito is 0.6 probability of A plus 0.5 45 and then yung common na mangyayari sa kanila parehas kasi nga hindi na related sila class, no. So ni-relate natin yung dalawa. So possible yung probability science and math has connection. Pero kapag disjoint siya class, wala namang siyang relationship, walang common sa kanila, we just simply add the probability of A and probability of B. So, mali yung problem natin class. Palitan natin to. Kasi parang mag-exceed siya ng 1. So, gawin natin siyang 0.35. So, ganito yung representation natin kapag not disjoint or hindi mutually exclusive yung dalawang a set of events or set of outcomes. So, yun yung definition natin. Okay, since we knew that for not disjoint or not mutually exclusive set of events, we expect that the value of probability of A plus probability of B is less than A cap B. So, ano ba yung A cap B? Diba ito din yan? So, dapat yung value niya class is less than PA plus PB kasi nag-subtract tayo ng A union B. So, ito. So, dapat less than siya ng, it's always less than the PA plus PB. Kasi nga, nag-subtract na tayo ng common nila. So, we expect that PA cup B for not disjoint and not mutually exclusive events, we expect that the value is less than the value of the probability that an event falls at A, or the probability that it falls in B. So, it should be less than. Okay, dito naman class, ito yung representation na operator natin. Meaning to say, na yung number of elements dito, or the number of likelihood or outcome sa B is greater than the elements in A. So, kapag ganyan class, we expect na as much as possible that the probability that falls under to B, na yung probability that an event occurs or happens within the event B is much or should be greater than the probability that the outcome falls under the event A. So, yan yung definition. So, dapat kapag alam natin na mas madaming element, so we assume na mas malaki dapat yung probability na mangyayari yung event B compare sa event A kasi mas marami tayong in-expect na outcome. So, mas madaming set of elements yung B natin. Halimbawa, may element siya na ganito, ito lang. So, we expect na mas malaki yung chance na yung event, yung outcome comes from event B. So, that's the interpretation or definition of this axiom. Okay, class. So, same to this problem, class. Halimbawa, kapag tatlo naman class yung event, so we just be subtract lang natin yung mga union class. So, PA, and then i-add natin yung mga complementary ng A, yung mga events na hindi mangyayari sa A, and then intersect natin siya dun sa mga events na mangyayari sa B, and also dito yung complementary ng A, and then ng B, and then ng C. So, for example, okay, gawin natin. So, for example, meron tayong Venn diagram class. So, this is the event A, B, C na unique, D, and then unique siya sa E, F, and G. So, we have, this is event A, B, and then C. So, what we do now is, what is the probability of A? So, we have A plus F plus D plus G. So, what are the events na hindi mangyayari sa A? So, this is PA. Next, we have PA cup B. Ano muna yung A complement? So, yung mga events na hindi mangyayari sa A. So, we have B, C, and E. And then, kunin na natin to. Yung event na common sa B and then sa A. So, yung common lang sa kanila is ito, FG. So, walang common sa kanila, no? Ay, may common. So, we have B. So, meron siyang B. Si B, meron siyang F, G, B, and E. So, yung common sa kanila is B lang. So, the answer for this one is B. Okay, now, so dito naman sa medyo mahirap. So, what is A complement? So, B, C, and E. B complement, lahat ng mga event na hindi mangyayari sa B. So, we have A, D, and C. And then, we have C. So, we have D, G, E, and C. So, yung mga common sa kanila class. So, what are the terms that are common or the elements that are common to A, C, and BC? So we have B, C, and E. So AD. So C lang yung common sa kanila. AC, BC. So we have C. And then yung common lang sa kanilang dalawa. Sa AC, BC, Cup C. So yung common sa kanila is yung C lang. So when we add this all of these, so we have PA plus PA complement B plus PA complement BC Cup C. So we have PA is A plus F plus D plus G plus ito. So we have B and then ito C lang. So ilan ba yung ano natin dito? Designation 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. So nasaan na yung F? 1. Okay, so common din pala to sa kanila is C. Okay, so C. Wala na. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Kulang tayo ng isa. So, wala yung E. So, dapat meron tayong E dito. So, the element of B, F, G, B, and E. Okay, so the element that are common to all of these three. Ano yung element na common sa kanilang tatlo? So, we have, okay. B, C, A complement is B, C, and E. So, C lang dito. C, and then we have A complement, B, C, E. Okay, ito nakalimutan ko class. So, E pala to. So, yung E common din sa kanila. Okay, so ito na. So, okay, PA is equal to A plus F plus D plus G. Yung PA cup natin, A complement, a hat or intersection of B is B and E. So, F, G, B, and E. So, yung common lang sa kanila, sa A complement, and then yung B, is both B, E. So, we have B, E, and then P, A complement, and then B complement. Hat C is equal to C lang. Ito lang yung common sa kanilang tatlo. So, when we add up these these three probability, this is just the sum of these individual or unique elements from this group. So, ilan yung group natin? We have group A, F, B, G. So, i-add lang natin yung mga unique. So, yung mga common class, tinatanggal natin yon. So, only those unique events yung sinasum up natin. So, that's the definition of that axiom. So, naulit lang class, So, greater than B. Okay, so example tayo. Madali lang to class, no? For example, we have, for the first example, toss a single coin and observe the result. So, ano yung mga possible sample space natin? S is equal to single coin lang. So, dalawa yung possible result natin. It's either a head or a tail. Next, we have record a person's blood type. So, ilan yung possible natin? Type O, type A, type B, type AB. So, hindi naman yung specify yung mga RH value class kung A positive, no? So, ito lang yung ilalagay nating outcome. Single birth, ano yung chances? So we have girl or boy. Dalawa lang. Pero hindi pa, bata pa siya, so hindi pa natin na maano class yung identify. So, yung single birth, dalawa lang yung ano natin. It's either a girl or a boy. So, joke lang yung class Joke lang yung kanina. Ngayon, we have 3 births. So, what are the sample space? So, halimbawa, yung unang answer natin is boy. So, boy, tapos boy lahat. And then B, BG. So, regardless of its order. B, tapos girl lahat. And girl yung sunod. And then, girl na. Next, ano pa yung possible? Girl na yung nauna. Boy yung sunod. Girl yung sunod. Next, we have girl. And then, boy yung sunod. Boy yung sunod. Ano pa yung mga possible outcomes natin? Okay, class. So, ano yung mga possible outcomes pa? So, girl na lahat. Okay. So, boy. And then, girl yung sunod. And then, boy. Ano pa yung mga possible outcome, class? So, BGB. BBG meron na. BGG meron na. BGB meron na. GGB. So, wala pa tayong GGB. Okay, so girl, and boy. So, lahat naman class, no, mutually exclusive and collectively exhaustive na relate natin or nakuha natin yung possible outcomes. Okay, class. So, comment lang kayo kapag may mali ako sa nilagay. So, but as of the moment, ito yung mga nakikita kong sagot for this example. So, next, we need to identify the simple events. So, first, we have a die and we toss it twice. And the number of upper face is recorded for each toss. So, what are the possible outcome? So, for the first toss, ilan yung ano natin? We have 1, pwedeng 2 ang lumabas, pwedeng 3, pwedeng 4, pwedeng 5, ang pangit ng ano, pwedeng 6. So, this is an example of a tree diagram. Pero, in the second toss, ang combination natin, unang lumabas is 1, pero yung sunod, pwedeng 1 pa din yung lumabas, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4, and then 5, and 6. So, we have 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, and 1, 6. So, how many? So, pares lang class, no? So, parang 6 na yung una, and then bawat first toss, meron pa silang possible na 6 outcomes. So, a total of 36, di ba? 36 possible outcome or combination yung makukuha natin. We can also represent this one as a table, no? Pwede din. Yung kagayang example kanina, when we roll a 4-sided die. So, we can also represent this one using a box type for the possible outcome. So, this is the first roll and this is second roll. So, sa first roll, pwedeng 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. How many possible outcomes? 6 times 6. So, we have 36 possible outcome when we toss a die twice. Okay, so for the next example, the sample space is grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4, grade 5, grade 6. Pero yung mga pang high school natin, di ba, is from grade 7 to grade 12 lamang. So, yung sagot natin dito, the sample space is the event that a grade level student is recorded is from G7 to G12 lang, grade 12. So we're just trying to be specific, trying to be more specific class, no? Kung ano yung possible result natin. That's the definition of an event. So next, a single card is drawn from a deck of 52 playing card. So madami tayong possible event class dito, no? So 52 cards. So yung event natin dito is pwedeng what is the event na yung makukuha natin is a red card. So red card. What is the event yung na yung makukuha natin is a black card. What is the event na makukuha natin is a face card. So king, queen. What is the event na makukuha natin is a number. A card with a number. So madami tayo possible event. What is the event na makukuha natin is a club or a spade or an ace. So yun yung mga example natin ng disintegrating or tinatry pa natin maging specific from a sample space. Okay, so let's try some more problems. So for example, this is an example of a discrete or finite finite data set. So this is not a continuous. So for discrete and finite, so we can just simply count or kaya natin mabilang yung possible outcome. So when we draw a four-sided die, from the figure, we have 16 possible outcomes as illustrated. To continue, we need to specify class first some probability law. So to keep things simple, we're just going to make some assumption that the 16 possible outcomes are all equally likely. So meaning to say, ang bawat outcome ay may probability na 1 over 16. So yung probability natin na makakuha tayo ng 1, 1 is 1 over the total possible outcome. So lahat sila have an equal chance of having a chance na makuha with a probability of 1 over 16. Given this assumption, we will now proceed to calculate some certain probabilities based dito sa mga keys na we were trying to solve. Let us look first in the probability that on the first roll, ang makukuha nating x or yung makukuha nating value is 1. So to identify what exactly that event, we need to check this illustration and check natin yung mga possible na makuha natin. Yung first roll natin is 1. So we have first roll natin is 1 pero yung second roll natin is 2. And then first roll natin is 1 pero first roll natin is second roll is 3 and then this one is 4. Ito class yung first roll niya is 2 na and then 1 yung second roll niya. So yung hinahanap natin dito class, specific tayo is to calculate for the probability that on the first roll, ang makukuha natin is 1. So how many outcome or particular outcome yung magre-result sa x is equal to 1. So meron lang tayong apat class, no? Equally likely. So ito yung chance na makakuha tayo ng probability na yung x is equal to 1. So we have 4 possible outcome and then each one of them has 1 over 16 chance na mangyari. So this is 4 over 16 and this is equivalent to 1/4 or 0.25. Okay. So ngayon, let's move on to another example. Given tayo ng z, which is the value of z is the minimum of first roll and the second roll. So ngayon class, say for example, ang nakuha natin in the first roll is 3 and then the second roll is 2. So what is the value of z? So the value of z is the minimum of the first roll and the second roll. So the value of z is 2. So yun yung minimin ng z natin. Okay. So now, what is the chance or what is the probability that we get a value of z which is 4? Okay. So, i-ano natin class, complete natin yung table. So, we have 2, 2, 2, 3, and then 2, 4. So, this is 3, 1, and then 3, 2, 3, 3, and then 3, 4. And we also have 4, 1, 4, 2, 4, 3, and then 4, 4. So, class, ang kailangan ang maging minimum value natin is 4. So, say for example, yung first draw ko class is 4 and the second draw is 3. So, ano na yung magiging minimum value natin? What is the minimum value between these x and y points? Diba magiging 3? So, this option is not hindi na siya valid class, no? Kasi ang kailangan nating makuha z is 4. So, alin ba dito, alin sa mga outcome, yung sure tayo na ang magiging z natin is 4. Diba? Ito lang class. Kasi kapag kinuha natin to, yung 3, 4, magiging minimum niya is yung mas mababa, which is 3. Same goes to this combination or to this outcome, which is 4, 3, and so on. So, we have ganyan. So, lahat niyan, ang magiging minimum is less than 4. So, we only have one chance, di ba, class? So, to make sure na yung sagot natin or yung z natin is 4, we only choose dapat na yung first draw natin is 4 and the second draw is 4 also. So, with that, we are sure na yung makukuha nating minimum value is 4. So, the probability of selecting a z which is equal to 4 is only 1 out of 16. So, only 1 lang siya. So, this is just when we get a 4 in the first row and 4 also in the second row. So, ngayon class, ito medyo madali ito class, no? So, dapat ang makuha nating minimum value is 2. So, lahat ng may 2, pero hindi lahat class, no? So, dapat wala siyang mas maliit pa sa value ng 2. Kasi pag kinuha natin class yung 2, 1, ang minimum value dito is 1. So, dapat ang magiging minimum value natin is 2 pa din. So, we have 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, 4, 3, 2, alin pa? 4, 2. So, ito wala na. So, okay. So, meron lang tayong 5. 5 na yung magiging z niya is 2. So, 5 times 100, 1 over 16. So, we have 5 over 16. So, this is the answer for this problem or the third question for this example. Okay, class. So, we now move to another definition, which is a discrete uniform law. So, for example, we have this sample space. We can also call it as a sample space. And this is the elements. So, to get the probability of an event to happen, we just count the, kagaya dun sa unang problem natin, count the possible outcome. And then, for an event to happen, for an element or an outcome to happen, for an element to happen or event A to happen, so at least one element under event A na mangyayari, we will just count off the number of elements under event A or events or elements that falls on subset or event A. So, yung formula natin dito, ilan ba yung element na mangyayari dun sa event A? So, for example, when we roll a die, so event A is an odd number. So, meron tayong tatlong possible outcome all over 6, di ba? So, we just 1, 6 for each element. And then, meron tayong 3 element under event A. So, to make it in mathematical representation, how we just specify the number of elements na nagko-compose or kino-compose ng event A, and then yung equal chances nila. Ilan ba yung number ng elements with equally likely probabilities. So, to make it simple, we just simply multiply the number of elements in event A all over the number of elements for the sample space. So, that's the formula that we apply to this problem. Okay, so some more concrete examples for a continuous data set. Okay, so for this continuous data set, it's very difficult to arrive for some specific point. This is an example of a target point wherein target, say for example, we're playing a dart class, no? So we want to try to hit the target, pero as much as possible, kahit gaano ka pa man kagaling na dart player or an archer, it's still very hard to hit the target na same talaga, because if you are going to hit a target, there's still some many infinite points within the area of target. So we can also represent the probability as an area or yung location or yung region lang na pwede mong matamaan yung target. So for example, like what I previously mentioned a while ago, so we have this dartboard class, no? It's very hard to predict the same point class. So when we predict for the probability that an archer or a dart player most likely to hit the target, we represent it through an area such as this example. So given tayo ng 1 by 1 square, and then we need to solve for the probability that the value of x plus y is within 1/2 class, no? And then we know that the value of x and y is in between 0 to 1 from our diagram. So for uniform probability law for this type of problem, we can solve that by assuming that the probability is equivalent dun sa area kung saan pwedeng matarget area under the specified region. Okay, class. So pwede natin siyang ma-represent by assuming that the area or the region, yun yung magiging target natin, kasi mahirap mag-pinpoint. So because there are so many points there, class, no, it's very hard to predict the accurate point. So as much as possible, we can represent it by an area. Okay, class. So take note of that. Kapag may na-encounter kayong ganitong problem, this is an example of continuous data set. So first condition, that the value of x plus y should be less than or equal to 1/2. So this is a combination of our trigonometry class, no? So we will try to analyze this one. Okay, so we have 1/2. So pwede na din natin x plus y is equal to 1/2. So what's the value of x when y is 0? So what is our x-intercept? So when y is 0, the value of x is 1/2. And also, same goes to kapag naging 0 yung x, yung y natin is 1/2. So when you plot it to this diagram, this is 1/2 for a y, and this is 1/2. And then we draw a line. So this is an equation of the line. So we can predict that the value dapat, diba, is less than 1/2. So dapat yung mga points na yon, yung x and y natin is less than 1/2 lang within this region. So mahirap natin pinpoint, class, kung ano yung point dito. So we just try to estimate yung probability na mangyayari yung event na yon, na yung makukuha natin na value na x and y is within 1 half. So yung value ng x is 1 half, less than 1 half, yung value ng y is 1 half, or the value of x plus y is dapat less than 1 half siya. So mangyayari lang yan, class, kapag yung point natin is within this region. So what is the total outcome? So what is the total area of the square? So 1 by 1. So what is the area of this region? So we have area of triangle, 1 half base times height. Yung base niya is 1 half. And then yung height niya is 1 half. So we have 1/8 all over 1. So we have 1/8 yung probability na yung points natin or yung sum ng dalawang points is less than 1 half. Okay, so what is the probability na tatama yung target natin sa 0.5 and then 0.3? Say for example dito yon. So what is the probability? So kapag ganitong example, class, it's very hard to determine kung what is the chances, no? Kahit gaano ka pa man kagaling mag-target. So this example in actual, it cannot happen, no? So the probability for this problem to happen is very hard, no? So we have infinite precision, and infinite precision is just equal to 1. So individual point should have 0 probability. Kasi wala naman siyang area, class, no? Mahirap natin ma-predict kung ano yung chance na ma-hit natin yung target. So we just simply assume na very infinite, very large number, many chances, or yung certainty mo na makuha mo yun is very very mahirap, or hindi natin most likely to happen. So kapag for infinite precision, so we can assume that the probability is 0. So the probability of a point, so wala namang area yung point, is 0 for a continuous data set. Kasi madaming point yung class eh. Okay, so ngayon malapit na tayong mag-solve ng mga problems sa probabilities. But before that, we need to talk about muna the 3 common approaches in finding the probability of an event. So we have this level of probability. So kapag yung probability natin is 0, this is impossible to happen, just like what we solved kanina. So the probability of hitting a point is 0. But kapag medyo malapit siya sa 0, this we have more unlikely to happen kapag malapit na siya sa 0. Parang more chances na hindi na siya mangyayari. Kapag 0.5 yung probability natin, this is a 50-50 chance. And kapag malapit na tayo sa 1, more likely to happen. And then kapag 1 yung probability natin, this is absolutely certain tayo na mangyayari yung event na yun. So PA denotes the probability of an event A is occurring. So we can say na yung P tapos parenthesis A, ang tawag natin dyan is the probability of an event A is occurring. First common approach to finding probability is what we call the relative frequency approximation of the probability. So we can only do this procedure if we know that the number of times A occurred and the number of times the procedure was repeated. So for example, we need to find out the probability of dying when making a skydiving jump. So when we know that based on the experiment, nalaman natin yung probability ng dying over the total number of skydiving jump that recorded for a certain time, then we can predict na in the future, kapag magda-dive ka, ano ba yung probability na mamamatay ka. So ngayon, for example, wala tayong data, so we can only use this approximation kapag meron tayong data, class, di ba? Okay, so for example, in a given year, yung na-record na skydiving jump from a famous resort is around 258, and then yung total skydiving jump all over the world na lang is around 10 million. So this is the probability na kapag nag-jump ka or nag-skydiving jump ka, ito yung probability mo na mamamatay yung skydiver. Okay. Next, ito yung pinaka-common class na ginagamit natin to or na-apply natin to most of our problems na ma-encounter natin dito sa module 2 natin. So, this is the number of ways an event happens, or this is the event from a sample space, and then all over the number of different simple events. So, this is the total number of chances are equally likely that an event will happen, and then number of ways A occurs, yung mangyayari all over the number of possibilities. So for example, we have these 3 children are born. The sample space of gender is as shown. So we have BBGG. So the question is, so in real life, the probability of a boy is 0.512 instead of 0.5. So mas malaki yung chance na yung boy yung maano natin ipapanganak. So assuming that the boys and girls are equally likely, or around 0.5 yung probability, find the probability of getting 3 children all of the same gender when 3 children are born. So ilan yung natin from our sample space, ilan yung event or outcome na makukuha natin that all 3 children are of the same gender. So di ba meron lang tayong BBB, all boys and all girls. So we have 2 over the total sample space or total outcome, which is 8. So we have a 1/4 chance na makukuha natin is all boys or all girls, or or lahat sila, yung 3 birds na yon is of the same gender. Next, the next one is what we call the subjective probability, and this is estimated by using knowledge of relevant circumstances. So we cannot give probability kung wala tayong data, or kaya nga natin sinabing subjective. This is based on personal experiences or personal knowledge. So this is what we do in daily life na. So we need to make a decision, we need to make assumption no, kung ano yung sa tingin natin makakabuti. So given tayo ng mga choice, so we have that intuition or we have that belief na kung ano yung makakatulong sa atin. So say for example, what is the probability that yung hawak mong yung pera mong gagastusin was already spent by Katy Perry. So this is a very broad no. So without specific data, we cannot predict accurately the probability. But if we have that belief or some sort of details na pwede natin i-relate dun sa kay Katy Perry, and then we try it to trim down to be more specific, or tayo magbibigay kung paano natin i-relate. So, we can use this subjective probability. Say, for example na lang, pwede natin magamit yung population ng Amerika. So, we can also use yung pera lang na ginagamit ni Katy Perry. So, pwede pa natin siyang i-trim down to be more specific or to get the most accurate result. So, yan yung subjective probability. So, this is a very broad type of or approach, pero makakuha tayo agad ng sagot, but this is more far from the accuracy. Yeah, so we're now going to move to the basic counting principle. From our previous example, we just only deal with categorizing, or tinatry natin i-expand yung mga possible option using different methods or diagram. But now, for the basic counting principle, this is just, we are just trying to simplify or make the diagram into a more mathematical way. Say for example, meron tayong 4 shirts, 3 ties, and 2 jackets. So how many possible way or outcome yung pwede nating makombine using these 4 shirts, 3 ties, and 2 jackets? So first, unahin muna natin magpumili from the shirts, no? So we have 4 shirts. So we have T1, then T2, and then T3, and then T4. Under, kapag sinelect natin yung T1, meron tayong options pa din to select for the ties. So S1 pala to. So we have shirts S1, S2, S3, and S4. So sa S1, meron din tayong tatlo pang choices. So we have 3 ties. So we have T1, T2, T3. Yung S2 natin, kapag pinili natin yung S2, meron pa din siyang 3 choices sa ties. So we have T1, T2, and then T3. Okay, so under T1, kapag nakapili na tayo ng isang tie, so pipili din tayo ng, may dalawa tayong option for the jacket. So we have J1 and then J2. So lahat yan may J1 and J2. Ngayon, bibilang natin, ilan ba yung total outcome or combination or pairing yung ano natin, nagawa. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 24. But simply, by using the basic counting principle, ang gagawin lang natin is to multiply all the possible outcome. So we have 4 for the shirts, we have 3 for the ties, and then 2 for the jacket. So we have 4 times 3 times 2. So ilan yan? 4 times 3 is 12 times 2. We have 24 possible pairing or combination. We have 24 ways kung paano natin masiselect yung shirt, tie, jacket. So kukuha tayo ng tig-iisa sa kanila. So we have 24 ways. So say for example, we have a medical technician records a person's blood type and the RH factor. So what are the person's blood types? Meron lang tayong 4 class, no? So, meron tayong 4 na pagpipilian. So, we have A, B, AB, and then type O. Kapag in-include natin yung RH factor, meron pa tayong dalawang option. So, we have plus and minus. A positive, A negative, positive, negative, positive, negative, positive, negative. So, wala naman na. So, ganyan lang natin dinidescribe yung blood type natin. So, in total, we have 8 possible results or blood type with RH factor. So simply, using the basic counting principle, ilan ba yung blood type, ilan ba yung RH factor? Dalawa. So we have 8 possible outcomes for this example. Okay, so next example, we need to create a tree diagram to find the simple events for this experiment. So a student was asked 4 yes or no questions. So do you have yung question is, do you have an account on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or Snapchat? So yun yung question. For this example class, tatanungin natin yung student natin for yes or no. Una, yung Facebook. Yun yung una nating category, Facebook. Yung option niya lang is to we have yes or no. So kapag nag-yes siya sa Facebook, meron pa siyang option dito naman. So we have Twitter naman. So you have yes or no, and then yes or no. After responding to Twitter, kung meron siyang Twitter, ang next question naman is kung meron siyang Instagram. So lahat yan, after the response from Facebook and Twitter, each one of them is meron pa ding yes or no na sagot. So yes, no, yes, no. Now yung Snapchat. So meron yang yes, no, yes, no, yes, no, and then yes, no. So, ilan lahat class yung possible na outcome? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. So, 16 possible outcome. So, this is just simply kapag tinanong ka yes or no for Facebook, may option ka din sa Twitter na yes or no, sa Instagram dalawa, and then dalawa din sa Snapchat. So we have 16 outcomes. So another example, so we have an earned problem contains 3 red and 2 yellow balls. So 2 balls are randomly selected and their colors are recorded. So meron tayong 3 red balls, R1, R2, and then R3. And then 2 yellow. So Y1 and then Y2. So how many combination? Use a tree diagram to list the 20 simple events in the experiment, keeping in mind which balls are drawn. So for the first draw, meron tayong how many outcome? So pwedeng R1, first draw class, no? R1, R2, R3, R4, and then R5. Pero kapag R1, ang option din natin is kapag nakuha na natin yung R1, we have ilan na lang? So we have R2, R3, R4, wala pang R4. So we have Y1. Y1 and then 1, 2. Same goes to dito sa R2. Kapag nakuha na natin yung R2, hindi na natin siya isasali. So we have R1, R3, Y1, and then Y2. Meron din ditong 4, meron din ditong 4, and meron din ditong 4. So ilan lahat in total? So meron tayong 4, 4, 4, and 4. So 4 times 5, so we have 20. Para kagaya lang dito, class. So ilan lahat yung pagpipilian natin? We have 5. So we have 5, and then kapag nakuha na natin yung isa, meron na lang tayong 4 na choices. So we have 5 times 4, 20. Ngayon, class, same earned problem. So a ball is randomly selected from the ball containing 3 red and 2 yellow balls. Pero ngayon, the ball is returned to the ball before a second ball is selected. So ibabalik ulit yung ball kapag nakuha. So most likely, pwedeng kapag nakuha nyo is R1, R1 pa din yung makukuha nyo sa pangalawa. Ang mangyayari, class, meron tayong 5. Kasi binalik naman, so 5 pa din ulit yung options natin. 5 times 5 is 25. Kung gagawin natin yung sa tree diagram, kasali pa din ulit si R1. So, bali, 5 na ulit lahat sila. So, we have 5 times 5, so we have 25 ways to select or to draw a color from a 5 ball urn. So, that's the definition of a counting problem. So we have some rules. So yun na nga yung MN rule. So first combination, first option, and then the second option. So 2 dice are tossed. How many simple events are in the sample? So we have HT, diba? And then yung second toss natin, pwedeng HT pa din. So we have 2 times 2, so we have 4 possible outcome. Next, a candy dish, 1 yellow and 2 red candies. 2 candies are selected one at a time from the dish and their colors are recorded. 1 yellow and 2 red. So we have Y1, R1, and then R2. So ngayon, kapag nakuha na natin yung Y1, meron na lang tayong R1 and R2. Hindi naman sinabing binabalik, class, na one at a time from a dish and their colors are recorded. So kapag na-select na natin yung isa from 3 options, meron na lang tayong dalawa sa pangalawa. So we have 3 times 2, we have 6 possible outcomes. Okay class, so let's try to solve some more problems. For example, how many simple events are in a sample space kapag 3 coins naman yung tinos natin? Okay, so this is the solution. For example, for the first toss, dalawa lang yung option natin class na pwedeng outcome. So we have the tail and the head. After that, kapag nag-draw tayo ulit, second draw, ang options natin na possible outcome is dalawa. So tail and then head, as well as tail and head. Then the third toss, meron tayo ulit na dalawa, TH and then TH. So how many in total yung possible outcome natin after the third toss? So we have 2 times 2 and then times 2. So we have 8 possible outcome. Okay, so let's move on to another question. From the digits 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 6, so ilan yung option natin in total? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How many 3-digit numbers can be formed if each digit can be used only once? Okay, by using the counting method principle, wherein we're just going to multiply the possible options. So say for example, we have a 3-digit number. How many choices we have for the first digit? So we have 7 choices. So we can select 7 choices. Okay, so dapat class hindi pwedeng maulit yung selection natin. Kapag nakuha na natin yung isa, hindi na natin siya magamit. Pwedeng magamit dun sa pangalawa. So for the second digit, since nagamit or we assume na nagamit na yung isa, ilan na lang yung magagamit choices natin. So 7 minus 1, we only have 6 choices na lang. And on the last one, we have 5 choices. Kasi nagamit na natin yung dalawa. Okay, by the counting principle, we just multiply these choices or possible choices for each digit. So we have 7 times 6 times 5. So we have 210 ways. Okay class, some of you may answer this one, but in actual, we need to dig deeper or kailangan natin i-analyze yung question. So the question is asking for a 3-digit number. So if we select or sinali natin sa option natin on the first digit, yung 0, so tingin nyo ba magiging 3-digit number pa din yung outcome natin? So, di ba hindi na class? Kasi kapag nag-start siya sa 0, and then pipili tayo ulit ng mga number, nakuha na natin yung 0, tapos for example, 4 and 3. So, do you think this is still a 3-digit number? Di ba hindi na class? So, what we're going to do is we need to be more specific on our choices. So, for the first digit, we will assume na dapat hindi nakasali yung 0 sa option. So, we only have 7 minus 0. Yung option na lang natin is 6. So, dapat ang choices natin for the first digit is 6. And next, for the middle digit, isasali na natin yung 0. Pwede na natin isali yung 0 class kasi halimbawa, ang nakuha natin is 4. Yung pangalawa is 0. And yung pangatlo is any number na unique. So, this is still a 3-digit number. So, it still makes sense, class, no? So, tanggalin na natin ito muna. So, yung option natin dito, class, say, for example, nakuha na natin yung 4. Ilan na lang yung options natin? So, we have, di ba dapat 5? Pero ngayon, pwede na natin isama yung 0. Kaya, yung options natin dito is 5 na lang, di ba? Plus 0. So, 6 pa din. Ngayon, pwedeng 0 yung makuha natin. Pwedeng hindi. Pero yung option natin dito, class, kasali pa din yung 0. Pwede natin isama. Pero, okay, so minus 1 kasi may nakuha na tayong isa dito for the middle digit. Okay, ngayon 5 na lang. So, we have 6 times 6 times 5. We have 180 ways. Given tayo dito, class, dalawa yung possible sagot natin, no? Possible outcome. So, which one is correct? So the correct answer for this one is 180 ways. This is the possible outcome that makes sense na yung outcome natin, yung result natin, or yung possible combination natin consists of unique answer, and this should be a 3-digit number. Because if inuna natin yung 0, hindi na siya 3-digit number. That is 2-digit number. So the answer for this question is 180 ways. Now, let's move on to another example. Very similar lang siya sa first question. However, the question, papalitan natin or dadagdagan natin ng even number para meron naman siyang variation or hindi na ulit yung question. So, ngayon, yung options natin is 7 pa din kasama yung 0. How many 3-digit even numbers can be formed if each digit can be used only 1? So, ngayon, ilan yung even number natin? Kapag ganitong problem, uuna tayo class dun sa last digit para maging even number yung sagot natin. Ano yung mga possible choices para mag-even number yung sagot? So, we have 6 kapag yung last digit niya is 6. Kapag last digit is 4. Kapag last digit is 2. And also 0 class. Pwede nyo ma-divide ng 2 kapag nagtatapos sa 0. So, that is still an even number. So, we have 4 choices class. Ngayon, napili na natin yung isa for the last digit. So, balik tayo ulit sa 7 options. Pero ngayon, tatanggalin na natin yung isa. So, ngayon yung options natin is 6 na lang and then 5. So, we have 5 times 6 times 4. So, maybe some of you, ito na yung magiging sagot for this question. However, class, we still need to take note, we still need to consider that this is a 3-digit number. So, dito, hindi natin ina-assume yung mga 0 value. Okay, class. So, what we're going to do to get the exact number of ways is kailangan natin i-hiwa-hiwalay or i-categorize natin or hiwalay natin yung mga possible outcome para mas madali. So, for the first case class, first scenario, what if hindi kasali sa option yung 0? So, first case, so ito class, yung options natin for the last digit is 2, 4, and 6. So, we have how many options? We have 3. Okay. Ngayon, since nakuha na natin yung, for even numbers, nakuha na natin yung isa, ang options na lang natin is 2. So, meron tayong dalawa dito. Plus, options din natin si 1, si 3, si 5, and then si 0. Pwede si 0. Kasi, hindi pa naman siya nakuha doon sa una. So, ilan yung options natin? We have 2 plus 1, 2 plus 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 plus 4. So, we have 6 options. Kasi meron pa tayong dalawang natira dito from this combination. Kahit alin dyan yung nakuha natin. So, meron pa tayong dalawang natira. And then, kasali na sa choices natin si 1, si 3, si 5, and si 0. Ngayon, class, for example, nakuha natin si 0. Dito, class, ito. So, may nakuha tayo dito sa first case natin. So, kapag si 0 yung nakuha na natin dito, class, kapag si 0 yung nakuha natin, ilan yung options natin? Diba? 2 plus 1, 2 plus 3. So, 2, 1. So, we still have ilan? We still have 5. So, how many ways yung ano natin? 0, first case, 0 is not the last digit. So, 0 is not the last digit and 0 is not also the first digit. So, we have 5 times 6 times 3. So, we have 90 outcomes. Now, for the second case, class, 0 we are sure that 0 is the last digit. So, yung option natin dito is 0. Ngayon, since wala na si 0 class, ang options na lang natin dito is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, meron pa tayong 6. So, dito, 1 option lang tayo, which is 0. And then, yung options natin dito, for the first digit, since wala naman 0, and we are certain na para maging 3 digit siya, dapat hindi 0. So, pero may nakuha na tayong isa dito for the middle digit. So, we have 5 na lang. So, we have 5 times 6 is 30. So, parang sagot. Pares yung makukuha nating sagot, no? So, isa-isahin natin. 90 outcomes. So, we have 1, 3, 5. Okay, wait lang class. So, check natin yung una. So, dito, 0 is the last digit. 0 is not the last digit. Okay, class. Yung uunahin natin dito is okay, balik tayo dito, class. So, for the first option, meron tayong tatlong option dito. So, dito, sure tayo na hindi 0 yung choice natin. So, meron na lang tayong 1, 3, and then 5, and then yung dalawa dito from even number. Kuha tayo dito ng dalawa. So, meron tayong 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Dito class, since nagamit na natin yung isa, ay sumali pala ako class kanina. So, ngayon, ang options na lang natin is since 5 na lang sila, di ba? 2, 1, 3, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Dito, ang options natin na lang is 4 dapat, 'di ba? Kaso pwede na nating isama yung 0. 0 is included. So 5 pa din siya. So we have 5 times 5 times 3. So 75. Alam niyo class ko ano yung mali sa akin kanina? Kasi inuna ko yung middle. So bago yung first. So 'di ba tatlo to? So 2, 4, 6 lang yung options natin. Pero dito inuna ko kasi to. So we have dalawang option yung natira dito, yung natira sa kanila. So we have 1, 3, 5 and then 0. So bali 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inuna ko yung middle. What if hindi nakuha yung 0? Tama. Kapag hindi nakuha yung 0, halimbawa ang nakuha ko is 5. So ginamit ko yung 6. Tapos 6 yung option kasi natin. Tapos hindi nakuha yung 0. Hindi na siya mag-make sense class. Halimbawa ang nakuha ko is 1. So, meron tayong options na 2, 3, 5, 0. So, 2, tapos, meron tayong options na 5. Ngayon, pwede ko pang makuha, since hindi natin nakuha dun sa middle, yung 0, pwedeng ang makuha ko dito is 0. So, it does not make sense, class. Ang nagme-make sense, class, dapat yung arrangement natin, una nating pagpipilian is yung for the first digit para hindi natin makuha yung 0. Iiwasan natin na makuha natin sa simula yung 0. So, we have yung options natin dito sa first digit is 1, 3, 5 lang and then kung ano yung natira dito sa sa tatlong to. So, we have 1, 2, 3 plus dalawang natira which is 5 lang. And then ngayon class, since nakuha na natin yung isa, so for yung options na lang natin for the second digit is 4. Pero since isasali na natin yung 0, so bali naging 5 pa din yung options natin. So in total class, we have how many outcomes? 75 plus 30. Akala nyo class, madali lang class, no? So we need to understand first the problem, kung ano yung nire-required. Hindi lang yung basta alam natin yung mga choices. We need to understand kung anong yung nire-require dun sa problem. So, medyo complicated yung pangatlo class. So, we have 105 outcomes. Pero kapag may repetition class, okay lang, mas madali 'yon. Kasi kapag may repetition class, so we have, if repetition, ilan yung even number? So we have ganun pa din, pag even number medyo challenging. So meron tayong options. Ang problema, yan, we have 2, 4, 6 lang na options. So meron tayong tatlo, pero pwede siyang maulit. So we have 6 options, kahit nakuha na natin yung isa. Ay, 7 pala. 7 yung options natin. Dito, 7. Kasi pwedeng ulit. Tapos pwedeng ulitin, so 7 ulit yung options. Kapag 0 naman yung options lang natin is 1 and then may repetition. So for the first digit, dapat hindi kasali yung 0. So we have 6 pala to. Hindi kasali yung 0. So we have 6 and then kasali na yung 0. Ito kapag may repetition class, ito yung total number of ways. Pero since we are dealing with unique number, or we cannot use that same digit twice, ganito yung sagot natin. So we have 105 and then we have 180 and then 8. So for the next question, how many 3-digit odd numbers can be formed if each digit can be used only one? Same lang. Okay class, yung options natin for the last digit class is only 3. So we have 1, 3, 5. Hindi kasali yung 0. So we have 3 options. Next, una tayo sa first digit class. May nakuha na tayong isa dito from these options, kahit any number, pero yung isa sa odd number natin nakuha na. So ilan na lang yung options natin? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Minus 1 kasi nakuha na yung isa, 5. Tapos hindi dapat natin isasali yung 0 class kasi ang iniiwasan natin maging 2-digit na lang yung number. So yung option natin is 5. Ngayon, since nagamit na natin yung 5 na lang, 'di ba? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and then nakuha na natin yung isa. So 5 na lang. Okay, ngayon class, sa middle digit naman, pwede na nating ilagay ulit yung 0. So yung 0 kasali na siya, pero dalawa na yung nabawas natin. So we have 7 minus 2. Pwedeng lahat ng number option, choices na natin, kasali yung 0, kasali na sa choices, pero may dalawa na tayong non-zero na nakuha, isang even number or isang random na number. So yung options natin is we have 5 na lang. So we have 5 times 5 times 3. We have 75 possible outcome. We are now down to our last example problems for the basic counting rules or the extended MN rule. For now, we're asked to calculate how many we can combine license plate. So yung license plate, it includes, so wait lang class. Okay, so it includes 2 letters and followed by 3 digits that can be formed. So the first case is if repetition is allowed. So what we do to solve this problem is we put the number of digits required. So the first step is we have two letters if repetition is allowed. So ilan ba yung letters sa alphabet? So we have 26. And then nakuha na natin yung isa pero pwede natin ulitin. So we have repetition is allowed. So ngayon, babalik lang natin. So pwede nating maulit. Halimbawa, AA. So 26 pa din yung options natin. And then for the number, so we have 10 options, diba? So 0, 1, 2 hanggang 9. So we have 10 and then repetitions is allowed. So that's the answer. So how many ways? So sobrang laki nito class. So we have 26 times 26 times 10 times 10 times 10. 676,000. Next, for the second question, kapag pipili pa lang tayo for our first digit, hindi na natin siya pwedeng magamit sa pangalawa, yung alphabet natin. Okay. Ngayon, nagamit na natin yung isa, and then hindi na natin pwedeng maulit. So, we have 26 times 25 times 10 times 9 times 8. So, we have 468,000 ways for the license plate. Given a set class of an n elements, suppose we are going to take that element and put that element, for example, K1, K2, K3, K4, K5, and put into that sequence. We are going to put it in sequence, or that is in order. We need to order them. So, kukuha tayo ng elements, and then dapat may specific order na paglalagyan yung mga elements na yun. So, any possible ordering of those elements ay tinatawag nating permutation. So, permutation of the elements is an ordered sequence of the elements. Hindi lang tayo basta-basta class, no? So, meron tayong dapat position or arrangement na kailangan i-consider when we do a permutation. So, for permutation, we have this, or in any basic counting principle, we have this factorial symbol which denotes the product of decreasing positive whole number. So, the value of 4 factorial is 4 times 3 times 2 and 1. And by special definition, so kapag we have yung 0 factorial, o I think no, kapag walang ways, di ba? So, walang way, isang way na yon. So, we have one value for 0 factorial. So, merong merong derivation for 0 factorial. So, the number of different arrangements or order matters of n different items when all n of them are selected is n factorial. So, that's the definition of n factorial. So, consider a set of elements and define the permutation of elements kung i-arrange natin yung elements na yon. Excuse. So, ano yung mga pwedeng arrangement natin, class? So, I think we have formula for permutation. So, for example, gamitin natin yung formula. So, naka-factorial rule siya. So, for the first position, nakuha na natin yung isa dito from ABC. So, 3, next, dalawa na lang, and then isa. So, we have 3 times 2 times 1. So, we have 6 ways to arrange these elements. So, kagaya dito sa formula, we have 3, and then 3 minus 1, and then 3 minus 2, and so on. So, 3 minus 1, ilan na lang yung options natin, di ba? Dalawa na lang. And then next, followed by 1 option na lang. So, we have 6 ways in total. Sige nga, gawin natin class, no? So, first, we have A, B, C, yung arrangement. And then A, C, B. And next, una na yung B, C, A, B, AC, una si C, followed by B, so we have, so this is the possible arrangement na pwede nating magawa for this example. So we have different permutation or subset, permutation rules. The first one, if yung mga elements natin are all unique, so permutation of subsets or unique elements, we can use the previous formula, or in some other way, so we can use n factorial over n minus r factorial. N is the number of elements, and yung r, kung ilan yung elements na gagamitin natin. Say for example, 7 yung elements natin, pero yung i-arrange natin is 3 lang. So that's the definition of r. Okay, so for our first example, first permutation rule, we have a printed circuit board and it has an 8 different location in which component can be placed. If 4 different components are to be placed in order, how many different designs are possible? So meron lang tayong 4 options, order. So ngayon class, for the first first component na pipiliin natin, we have 8 choices, and then since hindi na pwedeng nakuha na natin yung isa, so yun followed by 7, 6, and then 5. So how many permutations in total? So we have 8, 7, 6 times 5. So we have 1680 ways. If we're going to use the formula, so n factorial is 8 factorial. This is the number of elements. 8 minus r. What is r? So 4 lang yung kukunin natin for arrangement. So you have that factorial in your calculation. So you just click shift and then yung may x negative 1 on the upper right side of your calculator. Shift x raised to negative 1 or factorial yung nasa taas na description, and then 8 minus 4 factorial. So we have 1680 permutations for this example. Okay. The number of permutation n plus 1. So kapag mayroon tayong naulit na mga objects class, no? So for example, we have this hospital operating rooms need to schedule 3 knee surgeries and 2 hip surgeries in a day. So what is the number of possible sequences of 3 knee and 2 hip surgeries? So in total, we have 7 elements for this problem. So we have 7 factorial, and then ilan yung unique, pare-parehas or identical. So we have 3 factorial for knee surgery and 2 hip surgery. So what we do is just input the value 3 factorial times 2 factorial. So dapat class may time multiplication kayo dito sa calculator, baka mag-error. So how many ways? Okay, mali tayo. So this is still 5 lang pala in total. 3 knee surgeries and 2 hips. So 5 lang pala yung natin, possible elements. And then sa 5 na yon, 3 yung sa 3, and then 2 yung sa hip surgeries. So 5 pala yan. So mali tayo. So meron lang tayong 10 ways pala. So kamali tayo. 1, 2, 3. 10 ways yung sagot natin dito. Okay, ngayon, how many ways we can arrange the letters from the word probability? Next, we have probability. Ilan yung arrangement na pwede natin magawa sa probability? First, we need to check kung ilan yung mauulit. So, how many P and D word probability? So, isa lang. So, how many R? isa lang din. O, isa. Praba, dalawa. We have A, 1. And then I, we have 2. And T, we have 1. And yung Y is 1. So, how many in total? Ilan ba yung word dito sa probability lahat? Or ilang letters? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And check natin kung 11 talaga to. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Kulang tayong isa. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Probability. So, isang R. And then, dalawang B. O. I, dalawa. So, we have T. And then, Y. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 nga talaga. So, alin yung mali natin? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. P, R, O, B, dalawa. A, isa. I, dalawa. I, L. Nakalimutan natin yung L class. Okay. So, yung mga 1 factorial class, pag ginawa natin yan, is 1 lang din naman yung sagot. So, what we do now is we put all the 11 elements and then yung individual. So, yung mga 1 class, wag na natin include kasi ano lang naman yan. One way lang yung makukuha natin dyan. Check nyo, 1 factorial is also equal to 1. One way lang. And then, yung kailangan lang natin is yung may mga greater than 1, which is 2 factorial, yung B, times 2 factorial. So, what we do now is we use our calculator to solve that and check on how many ways we can do. We can create from the word probability or how many arrangement. So, ito din ba yung nakuha nyo class? So, we have 9,979 ways. 200 yung sagot natin. For the third question, how many different ways can the letters of word optical be arranged so that the vowels always come together or laging magkasama? Okay, ano ba yung mga unique ano natin dito? So, we have O, this is a vowel. And then, yung P, T, and then yung B natin. So, we have probability, optical. I, and then yung C natin, this is another method of solving permutation. C, and then L, and then yung A. Okay, class. So, yung third ano natin, combination is paghahalo-haluin na natin to. Dapat magkasama lang sila. So, meron na silang isang position dito for the vowel, O, I, A. So, what we do now, ilan ba lahat yung possible way na pwede natin ma-arrange? Ito class, pwede natin itong pagbali-baliktarin din. So, this is 3 factorial. Diba? So, IOA, OA, and AOI. So, yan yung mga possible nating makuha. So, yung 3 factorial natin, how many ways already? So, we have 3 factorial. We have 6 ways. Ngayong class, pwede pa natin itong ma-arrange yung mga unique values na to. So, what we do now, bali magiging, meron pa tayong 5 arrangement. Pwede pa natin pagbabali-baliktaran to class. And then, kung ano yung arrangement dito. Kukuha, kasi sila laging magkasama class. So, halimbawa, ito, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then, ito, si OIA, lagi na sila magkasama. Pero, pwede pa natin siyang pabali-baliktarin. So, ito, PTCL. So, minsan, pwedeng mapunta sa gitna si OIA. Pero, isang ano na lang sila. Isang, parang mag-isa na lang sila. So, how many ways in total? So, this is a combination class, no, of our permutation. So, we have 5 factorial. 5 ways na pwede pa natin pagbali-baliktarin yung PTC and then yung maging kasama pa din to sa arrangement times yung arrangement nung tatlong vowels. So, 3 factorial or 6 ways. So, how many arrangement yung pwede nating magawa na magkakasama lagi yung tatlong vowel? So, in total, we have 720 ways yung sagot natin dito. So, take note of this kind of problem, class. So, you need to use analysis to solve this problem. For circular permutation class, if ganito naman ay yung arrangement natin in circular form, for counterclockwise and clockwise and counterclockwise are different. So, ito yung gagamitin nating formula. Pero kapag yung clockwise and counterclockwise are just the same na arrangement, ito yung half ng original. So, kapag yung arrangement dito class is same lang, di-divide lang natin ng dalawa. Pero most commonly, dapat ang makuha natin are those unique combinations. So, clockwise and counterclockwise setup are different. So, what we do now, calculate the circular permutation of per person sitting around the table kapag yung clockwise and anti-clockwise order are different. So, we have 4 minus 1 factorial. So, this is 3 factorial. So, how many ways? So, we have 6 ways, diba? And then, next we have 4 minus 1 factorial over 2 for same arrangement, kahit clockwise or anti-clockwise. So, we have 3 factorial over 2, 6 over 2, we have 3 ways. So, this is the definition of these are the permutation rules na nagmamatter yung arrangement. Pero class, kapag arrangement doesn't matter or we are not concerned about the order, kukuha lang tayo, magsiselect lang tayo ng mga possible ways or combination. Yun yung tinatawag nating combination class, no? Sinabi ko na nga. So, for this type of problem, yung kaibahan lang niya class dun sa formula ni permutation, meron na siya dito sa labas na r factorial. Dito class, we are not concerned of the arrangement. Basta, makuha lang natin yung different combinations as much as possible. Okay, so example, a printed circuit board has 8 different locations in which our component can be placed. So if 5 identical components are to be placed on the board, how many different designs are possible? So ano yung gagawin natin? We are going to use the formula. So we have 8 factorial. So yung how many combinations? So from 8, pipili tayo ng 5 identical components. So, how many combinations? So, we have 8 factorial and then yung pipiliin natin r factorial and then 8 minus 5 factorial. So, we have 8 factorial and then 5 factorial times 3 factorial. So, we have 8 factorial. So, 40, 320 all over 120 times 3 factorial, 6. So, let us solve this one. 120 times 6. So, we have 56 ways to select from combination. Pero kapag important yung order, so, halimbawa R1 and R2, pwede pa natin siyang pagbali-balik na rin. So, mas madami tayong combination. So, dito, R1, halimbawa, magpipick lang tayo from different options. Kaya konti lang yung permutation. So, we have 8 yung combination pala. Konti lang yung ways na magagawa natin. Kasi, ito, halimbawa, pipili tayo ng 4. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. Combination na yung class. Isang combination na yun. One combination. Pero, sa permutation class, pipili tayo ng 4. Pwedeng 1, 2, 3, 4. Pwede pang 4, 3, 2, 1. Yung mangyayari. So, dito, sa combination, isang combination na to class. Kasi, yung mga unique values nila, isa lang din naman. So, yun ang ginagawa natin sa combination. So, for example, kapag permutation class, 8p5, 8 factorial over 8 minus 5 factorial, 8 factorial and then 8 minus 5 factorial. we have 6, 7, 20 ways. Mas madami tayong option kapag may arrangement. Kasi ito, yung combination na to, pwede pa natin pagbalik-balik na rin kapag permutation. Pero kapag combination, wala tayong pakialam sa arrangement. Basta pipili lang tayo ng 4 or 5 unique elements from the choices above or yung mga pinagpipilian natin. So, kaya mas madami class yung permutation kasi may importance pa yung arrangement. So, yun. Kagaya, pa nag-roll tayo class ng dice twice. So, yung mga pwede nating makuha is 3, 4. Pwede din 4, 3 kung may arrangement tayo or permutation. 3, 4, pwede nating 4, 3 yung makuha natin. That's a different, unique arrangement. Pero kapag combination class, same lang naman. Ito, to combo. Yan, same lang naman yung mga values niyan. So, isa lang. Kasi isang combo lang yung nagawa natin. This combination of 3 and 4. And we are not concerned with the, we're not into the arrangement of that number. Okay, so some more problems. Out of 7 consonants and 4 vowels, how many words of 3 consonants and 2 vowels can be formed? So, from the consonants, pipili tayo ng dalawa, 7C3. And from the vowels, so pwede pa natin siyang i-combine. Okay, may lalagay natin yung multiplication. Pwede pa natin siyang i-combine. So, we have 4 vowels and pipili tayo ng dalawa. And by using the formula, 7 factorial, 3 factorial, 7 minus 3 factorial, multiply by 4 factorial and 4 factorial, 4 minus 2 factorial, we get a value of 210 ways. So this is the answer for the second question. Next, in a group of 6 boys and 4 girls, 4 children are to be selected. In how many different ways that can be selected such that at least one boy should be there? So at least one boy should be there. Okay. 4 is selected. So meron tayong mga condition dito, class, no? So una, 1 boy. Meron na tayong 1 boy. Pero ilan yung number ng boys? 6 boys. So, sure na tayong may isang boy. So, kukuha na tayo ng isang boy dun sa 6 boys. From the 6 boys. Times, kung meron na tayong isang boy, ang pipiliin na lang natin is girl. Kasi 4 children lang naman yung kukunin natin. So, 4C3. And then, we have 2 boys. Yung makuha natin. So, we have 6C2 times 4. So, kung meron tayong dalawang boys na nakuha, so at least, di ba? At tinatanong lang din naman, at least 1 boy. So, pwedeng, dapat merong isang boy. So, pwedeng dalawa, pwedeng tatlo, or pwedeng lahat sila boys. Pero, hindi pwedeng walang boy dun sa children na yun. So, we have dun sa 4 children. So, since meron na tayong dalawang boys, ang choices na lang, ang pipiliin na lang natin din sa girls is dalawa. And then, for 3 boys, so we have 6C3 times 4C1, isang girl na lang, and lahat boys. So, we have 6C4. So, how many ways? 6. So, sabay yan. Kaya minumultiply natin, class, this because they are mutually exclusive. 4 times C times 3, we have 24 ways. And 6 C2. And later, we will add those combinations. 90. So, pwede kasi, ito kasi class yung tinatawag natin additive rule. And then, ito yung multiplication rule. So, kapag siya, independent, na ang makuha natin is boy regardless of the girl. So, we multiply and additive, we will just sum up those chances, di ba? So, at least one boy. So, possible then, 2 boys yung makuha natin, 3, and then all boys. So, we have 6, 3, and 4C1. So, we have 80 ways. And 6C4. So, we have 15. In total, we have 24, 90, 80, and 15. 209 ways to arrange or to select 4 children, at least 1 boy. So, for our last example, a bin of 50 manufactured parts contains 3 defective parts and 47 non-defective parts. A sample of 6 parts is selected, so without replacement. That is, each part can be selected only once and the sample is a subset of the 50 parts. How many different samples are there of size 6 that contain exactly 2 defective parts? So, exactly 2 defective parts. So, ilan ba yung defective parts? So, meron lang tayong 3. So, defective is 3. So, yung total samples naman is 47. So, non-defective is 47. So, the question is asking for how many combination that meron talagang dalawang defective parts. Pero yung kukunin natin is 6, di ba? So, 6 yung kukunin natin class. So, sure na tayo sa defective. So, kukuha tayo from 3 defective ng dalawa. And then, meron na lang tayong 4 na kukunin from non-defective naman. So, 47 and then 4. So, para itong dalawa is 2 plus 4 is equal to 6. 6 yung makukuha natin. Using the formula, we can get the value of so this is a mutually exclusive. So 3C2 times 47C4. So we have 3C2 times 47C4. And then we can get 535,095 combination of 6 samples. Later, we are going to discuss more about the independence, the mutual exclusive, and some important rules in probability. Okay, so this we will continue our discussion about probability on the next meeting. Okay, class. So for your group recitation, this is a group recitation class. You can check your group mates. This is a group with 3 members. So you can check your group mates sa People's Tab class na sa Canvas natin. So this is the question. These are the questions. I'm not going to post this problem in your Canvas, but you can watch naman dito sa video. So you just check the questions and take a screenshot of it for our example. So you can check this one, and then the submission is until tomorrow. So hanggang 7:30 PM after our class. So I hope you're going to watch this video. So this is the question, and for the next part, this one. So I need you to solve this one, and yung submission nyo is per group class, no? So pwedeng yung solution nyo will be handwritten or computer. So pwede nyo type. Ito type nyo sa computer. So these are the questions. So I hope nababasa naman. So these are the questions, and then this one. So the submission is until tomorrow. So August 25 pa nag-meet tayo. So this is Thursday. So madali lang to class, no? This is a group sheet work. meron naman kayong mga group chat. So, kayang-kaya nyo na to. Sige, i-steady ko lang for your screenshots. So, this. And then, this one. Okay, class. So, thank you for attending our class today, and we will meet again next meeting. Okay.